Kendrick Lee, the 8-year-old boy who tragically lost his life at the hands of a coward, a man who was supposed to be a father figure that does not deserve that name, but was supposed to be some kind of influential male role model that his mother had met, only to come find out that Kendrick Lee, the 8-year-old, who was found in an apartment with his siblings, decomposing for up to a year. That's the name that we want to remember. That's the name that we want justice for. I'm Mr. 6'8". Welcome to a new episode of Roll That Beautiful Being Footage. It's been difficult for me to do this story, but basically just to kind of give you a little background, there was an incident that took place, and I do recall it being around Sunday. Basically, a 15-year-old made a 911 call and pretty much told the authorities about a horrible situation that he was in with his siblings. His siblings, who were 10 and 7. Not only was he in a situation of being malnourished with his siblings, he was in a situation of being abused with his siblings, but another sibling, in addition to the siblings that were alive, was also inside of the same apartment and had been inside of the same apartment decomposing for a year. And it got so bad to the point of where it just, the teenager, the 15-year-old who probably was taking care of his siblings, just said, you know what, forget it. I can't do it no more. I'm not going to do it. So he texted his mom, Gloria Williams, and told her that he just can't do it no more. And he placed the call to 911. And that 911 call would send off a shockwave throughout a community, okay? It led to a series of disturbing revelations, according to the Daily Mail, that did a whole write-up. Revelations that included the children having to fend for themselves for several months, relying on food donations from neighbors around in the apartment complex, who also, by the way, let me just go and mention that the neighbors went on for months complaining of a foul odor that was coming in through their vents that they smelled. They put in complaints to the apartment that went unheard and said that there was a foul odor. However, in the midst of all of this, even though you had kids wandering around, begging for food, kids that, the teenager would go down sometimes to the neighbor and say, hey, I want a snack, not a decent meal, but a snack, only because probably he was so used to being abused, and he probably was afraid, which I'm sure he was, that him and his siblings would be separated, since his own parents or legal guardians left these kids to fend for themselves over 15 minutes away from where the apartment was. And the apartment was on government assistance to make it so bad. So I don't know if that, maybe is that the reason why, nobody notices, because the apartment was on government assistance. So the bill was being paid. I don't know. All I know is that everybody failed these kids. Okay? Everybody failed these kids. Let me just kind of jump into some of the first details that we know. So as of yesterday, Wednesday, October the 27th, there was a court hearing where Brian Coulter, who was 31, was charged with felony murder, Gloria Williams, who is the mother, the biological mother, because Brian is not the biological father. Gloria Williams, 35, she's charged with injury to a child by omission and tampering with evidence of a human corpse. And to top it all off, y'all both were arrested in a public library while researching their own horrific acts that they had done to their children. That's where they were arrested at. Okay? These parents did not give two flying flips. And the fact that this Brian Coulter, the man that this mother became involved with, the fact that he's now under watch for a mental evaluation, there's no mental in this. You got to be some kind of sort of sick, twisted evil to do what you did. And if you think that the mental card is going to get you a pass for what you did, no. And I'm not giving the mother a pass either. What I will sit here and say though is that we do know that her bond is set at $900,000. Brian Coulter's bond is set at $1 million. If it was me, I would have not even set a bond, but I'm quite sure, you know, everybody deserves a fair trial, blase, or whatever the works. It had also been stated that initially, you know, the two individuals were arrested but could not be held prior to this, okay? And the reason for that, according to the sheriff department, was that there was not enough evidence to hold them. So when the phone call happened from the 15-year-old, okay, who pretty much brought everything to light, and the police went to go investigate and check it out, I don't think nobody was prepared of what they saw, because it was horrific, okay? It was very horrific. And y'all, when I tell you this case, it has so many moving parts to it. Okay, so let's just kind of back up here, because Kendrick Lee, who is the 8-year-old who was the decomposing corpse, the child, innocent child that was discovered in the house, was stated that the surviving siblings witnessed Coulter kicking Kendrick, the 8-year-old, on Thanksgiving Day of 2020. Okay, then they witnessed Coulter closed fist punching and kicking Kendrick in the face, feet, back, testicles, and buttocks. Then Williams, the 7-year-old child, okay, told deputies that Coulter continued kicking the child while he was on the floor, not even moving, laying just still. Clearly, the child is probably dead at this point. Okay? And you're still kicking the child? Really? And you really want us to believe that you are on some kind of mental breakdown that led you to do what you did? Okay? And then on top of that, they said after Kendrick's eyes had turned blue, this is coming from you got to keep in mind. Let me back up and let me really let you grasp of what's going on here. This is coming from the siblings who witnessed this. Okay? They stated that after Kendrick's eyes had turned black and he stopped, Coulter then covered him up with the blue blanket. Okay? He then covered him up with the blue blanket, or with a blue blanket. I don't know. I guess because he didn't want to see him of what he had done. I don't know. You know, we hear it all the time that people, after, you know, murdering people, that they'll just, you know, throw a sheet or something over their face because they don't want to see, because it's some kind of, you know, intimate personal connection. But this man, there is no way you can tell me that something is mentally going on with him. This is evil, sick, twisted. You deliberately knew what you were doing. And then the audacity of the mom who allowed this to happen, who even led her children to believe that she was going to call the cops several times and never did call the cops, has just whisked away with this man, and now they are living in a separate place, slowly distancing themselves from the siblings that was in the apartment with the decomposing body of Kendrick Lee, an innocent 8-year-old. Grasp that. Let me let you just marinate on that for a second. Do you know how twisted that sounds? It sounds sick. It sounds sick. Yeah, you are right. Crazy is right. But if you think a mental evaluation if you really think that you're gonna try to pull that card, Brian, I would really strongly suggest you think twice about that, because this right here, what you did is premeditated. To me, I feel like it's premeditated, and I'm just gonna call it the way I see it. And like I told you, this was a hard story for me because I've lived in a violent household, so it's very triggering. Okay. And it's near and dear to my heart. But the Daily Mail, shout out to the Daily Mail, they did an awesome write-up of just pretty much everything from start to finish. It was also stated that when the mother, after all of this had transpired, had went to go check on her son and saw that he was dead, she began crying and fighting with Coulter, according to Daily Mail. And then her 15-year-old son told investigators that he believed his mother would call the police on Coulter, but she never did. She then moved out of the apartment, leaving her surviving children with their brother's rotting corpse and without any supervision from any guardian. Okay? Williams' 10-year-old son also told investigators that when Williams came back by the apartment at a later date and lifted the blanket off of Kendrick, she found that the body, feet, teeth had turned into a skeleton and that his hair was off. His decomposing corpse was said to have been covered with bugs. Okay? On top of that, the 10-year-old also claimed that Coulter would beat him as well, hitting him in the face, stomach, buttock, and legs, and broke his jaw 3 weeks ago. And the boy had broken bones. When all of this stuff came to the surface and the police got a hold to it, the 10-year-old child surviving one of the siblings, had to go to the hospital for broken bones in his face. This story sounds absurd, y'all. I'm telling y'all, it's some sick, twisted stuff going on. It's some sick, twisted stuff going on out here with people. Okay? So when the police, finally did arrive at the apartment on Sunday, because all of this stuff, like I said, transpired on Sunday after the phone call made by the 15-year-old, who probably had just been, gripe with fear and said, okay, I'm sick and tired of going through this. I'm trying to be the strong one. I can't no more. Everybody got a breaking point. So they found the child with a swollen jaw, the 10-year-old, at the hospital the following day. The boy said that his mother was aware of the injury but did not seek or obtain medical aid for him, according to the Daily Mail. When questioned by the detectives, Williams claimed that when she entered the bedroom around Thanksgiving of 2020 and found Coulter beating her son, Kendrick, she stopped the attack. After discovering the next day that Kendrick had died, Williams claimed that she confronted her boyfriend and was stated he was sorry that he lost it and punched him and continued punching him until he went to sleep. Let me stop right there. Really? So you're claiming that you just lost it and that you just didn't know what was going on, and that you just, decided in your mind you was going to just take this boy's life. Senseless. Senseless. Because that's what it is, senseless. Okay? And then on top of that, after discovering the next day that Kendrick had, passed away, Williams claimed that she confronted her boyfriend, who stated he was sorry that, got ahead of myself. Williams allegedly told investigators after that that she knew her son was deceased a year ago, but she was afraid that her children would be taken away and she would go to jail. What? Really? So let me get this straight. You would rather for your child to be in such a horrific state of condition already as it is, the siblings, all of your kids, okay? To be in such horrific conditions, knowing that their life was in jeopardy, instead of just being transparent and going to the authorities or trying to get help somewhere. I just got finished watching The Maid, and I don't know if you all have seen it on Netflix. Check it out. It's really good. It talks about emotional abuse in relationships and stuff like that. But at some point, accountability has to come in somewhere. That's what that taught me. That series, it taught me accountability has to come in somewhere. And regardless of the fact, Gloria, you are accountable. Period. These are your children that you let this psychotic man come around. And it's crazy that it even had came to this. And the fact that you knew your child was in another apartment in a separate place while you was over there playing house with this man, and his body was decomposing day by day for a year. Not 2 months, not 3 months, but for a year. Okay? And then on top of that, she was afraid of losing, saying that she was afraid of losing her kids. And then during a press conference held by the Harris County Sheriff Ed Gonzalez on Wednesday morning, which was yesterday, investigators stated that Williams, the younger children, had been subjected to consistent beatings at Coulter's hands and were never allowed out of their apartment. This is a textbook case of a person that abuses children. And I definitely agree. That's exactly what it is. Call it for what it is. Okay? Walford, who heads the Sheriff Department Homicide Unit, also stated some harsh words for Williams, calling her an abuser by omission, which I'm glad that they are holding the mother accountable, because she has just as much to do with this as him. Period. Okay? Then it goes on to say that that the sergeant said that there is no evidence of the mom of 6 was a victim of domestic violence herself, and that she had a year to report her son Kendrick's murder and her other children's abuse, but she chose not to do it. Sheriff Gonzalez said that at least 2 of the 3 brothers, aged 15, 10, and 7, are on the autistic spectrum. All 3 children told responding officers that they were hungry and requested donuts. They were very sweet children and nice. And y'all, it's just sad. Y'all, it's just really sad. It is so sad. It is so sad. And also, I don't know if you all know, but as far as the kids, Kendrick, the child that passed, and his 3 surviving brothers were fathered by 2 different men, one of whom has already passed away. Okay, it's also been stated, as I had mentioned earlier, that the apartment they were sharing was also being paid for using government assistance, or being paid by government assistance, while Williams and Coulter lived about 6 miles away from where the siblings lived at with the decomposing child in another room. Okay? On top of that, the Williams and Coulter were initially picked up by deputies on Sunday. They were questioned and released, leaving many people to wonder why. And that's why I mentioned to you earlier as well, why people wondered why they were let go, which was because they didn't have enough evidence at the time. But of course, now, with the child and just with the overwhelming stuff around that apartment at West Oak Inn, it's just a mess, y'all. Like, I cannot even wrap my mind around this at all. It's just, I don't know. It's just sick, y'all. Like, I've been trying to figure out the words to sum up. And the fact that, other people in the apartment complex, not only that, y'all, but take a look. I did post, I'm going to post right here also, there was an order for the children to be removed from the home, which you will see right here. Also, I want you to take a look at another thing before I forget, but court documents that shows that there were 2, pretty much she was, the mother, Gloria Williams, was pretty much held, as far as legal pursuing for failing to register the children with school. But those cases were dropped due to, check this out, of the whole thing going on last year with Miss Kobanisha. Okay, I had to say it real quick to get my video. But yeah, that word. Okay, so basically, once again, she was pursued legally, by the state for failing to register the kids at school twice, 2 filings, but it was released and dismissed because of all of the stuff that has transpired in the year that we have been going through. So I guess that was their excuse for letting it go. So that's why when I tell y'all that people fail these children, everybody failed these children, even the people in the neighborhood. There was a lady by the name of Chapman, last name, that she noticed that the teen's mother was rarely home. She would occasionally show up bearing noodles, snacks, and drinks. The abandoned teen would run downstairs to pick up the food, which I assume is the 15-year-old, and then return to the apartment. About 6 months ago, Chapman stated that she started offering the 15-year-old food, but said that he refused to accept cooked meals, only agreeing to take packaged snacks. Another neighbor by the last name of Thompson, who had also been helping out the boy, told the station the child was paranoid and feared getting poisoned. Thompson said that the teen knocked at his door one day asking to borrow a charger, and after that, the neighbor said that he forged a bond with the boy and started offering him food. Thompson and Chapman said they had no idea that the two younger children were living with the 15-year-old who was coming to their apartments. Thomas recalled that on one occasion he had even asked the teen if he liked the pizza, and they was confused, didn't even know what that was. So that just go to show you how isolated these kids probably had been kept. And y'all, when I tell you it's sick, the fact that the apartment complex didn't do their due diligence, the fact that the state failed it, like it's so many people that fail these kids. And my heart goes out. Y'all, I just don't know what to make of it. And the fact that, these two, whatever you want to call them, don't even deserve a human existence name, was on Instagram posting a couple of months ago pictures all booed up and stuff, knowing that they got this situation going on back at this apartment with the kids and living 6 miles away from the kids, acting like just nothing is even going on. I just don't understand it. So, it goes to say, what I do want to take from, because, we live in a society where everybody say, it's best to mind your business. If you see something, don't snitch, or you don't want to get caught up in mess. But this is one time that I feel like it could have been more outspokenness about the situation when it came to red flags, warning signs, because there were so many opportunities that this could have. I'm not saying that, maybe Kendrick would still be alive, but at least we could have maybe prevented something had somebody just spoken up, or just, somebody who had a job to do or protect and serve just did their job when it comes to, certain checks and balances being put into place to ensure things like these don't fall through the crack. And it's sad, y'all. It's just sad. I just don't know what to make of it. Like I said, the story is all over the place. The details of it is just mind-blowing. Drop down in the comments. Let me know what you think. I know it's a lot, y'all. But just pray that these kids are able to get the counseling that they need, that they're able to fall into the right hands, whoever they end up with. Because at this point, who are they going to go to? And the paternal grandmother, the children, had even stated that she didn't know that this was going on. She had even stated that at one point, Gloria had came to live with her, and how she was dating, these different men, and she told her she had to go. And, it's just crazy. Like, how could you not know that these children who look malnourished wasn't going through like something that set off alarm bells? I don't know. Drop down the comments, leave a comment, like and share this video. Just pray. That's all I can say. Until next time, my fun soldiers. Peace.